Hey guys, my name is Trisha. Welcome to my channel if you haven't been here before. Today we're going to do a review of Scandinave and Thermea. So Thermea is a new spa, a Nordic spa that opened in Whitby, Ontario, which is just east of the city of Toronto. And it's been open since October. And my girlfriend and I just went on Friday. This is Monday. And we enjoyed an entire day at Thermea, and I've had a bit of time to think about what I liked about each of those places, and I wanted to share with you the differences that I found and why I prefer one over the other. So stay tuned for that. I might be looking down a little bit because I don't want to miss anything, and I have made some notes so that I make sure to touch on everything that I found to be important to talk to you guys about. So first we'll talk about Thermea and the good stuff as well as the bad stuff. So one of the good things about it is its proximity to major city. It's very close to the city of Toronto. So if you're looking for a day out in a spa experience going through the Nordic hot cold rest cycle, it's easily accessible. Most people that live in the city of Toronto can get there in under an hour. I'm coming from Hamilton, so it did take me 2 hours to get there and 2 hours to get back. And I didn't really enjoy that because I don't like highway driving, especially through the city of Toronto. But I won't knock that as a point off from this spa. It's just one of those things. For me, I just didn't enjoy the drive. But for others, it might be close enough that that's not an issue. We met many ladies that were there that live in Whitby, and so it was only a 10-minute drive for them. And so it's not a negative for everybody. Closer is better. I also found that the staff were extremely friendly. Like, you could always find somebody to help you, and they were always happy to do it. It was such a nice experience just interacting with the staff. They were so friendly and knowledgeable and helpful. You never really had to feel like you needed anything. There was somebody always to answer a question or to help you out. I found it to be a lot more social. So I found that there were more hot tubs and they were always filled up, and because talking is not a problem here, people are always having conversations and chit-chatting, and so it's just a different environment, and because of the chit-chatting, it makes it less therapeutic. So when you go to Scandinave, there's a no talking rule, and as much as it can be frustrating a little bit because you want to chit-chat with your friends, you also feel the sense of peace and sort of removal from the world. If you're looking for a place to go with your girlfriends that you can talk and catch up, then Thermea is for you because they don't have any rules about not talking in the majority of the place. They do have what they call their sauna village, and you're supposed to be quiet there. But nobody ever came around and told us to be quiet ever. So it's a very social place. In fact, we met some other people there and started chatting with them and getting to know them. So if you're a very social person and you find it relaxing to interact with lots of people, then Thermea is for you. Another thing that they had going for them is they have a number of food options. So I believe there are 3 restaurants, and they offer different levels of service, different levels of meals, but there's always a menu that you can choose from and lots of options. So if food is important to you, then Thermea has all that and more. You can get wine and other types of mixed drinks and things like that as well. So the restaurant aspect was really well thought out, and they provided for all your needs. They don't allow you to bring food of your own. So when you're there, you do have to purchase from them, and it can be quite pricey. So if you look into that ahead of time, just be prepared to spend. But we know that these places, like, it's a time of rest and recovery, and so having a good meal can be a part of that plan for you. And you might not be, you won't be disappointed with the food options, that's for sure. Also with Thermea, they offer towels, so you never have to worry about bringing your own towel from home, and you can always get a clean and dry one. I also like that about Thermea, that the towels and the robes were included, which is nice, in your day package, and they will change them for you at any time. And the area to change them is on the same level as all of the pools and saunas and everything. So you don't have to go somewhere else to get them changed. When we were at Scandinave, I think we had to go upstairs to get our towels changed. And so you had to go through the change rooms and up into the reception area to get your towels changed. So it was just a more challenging process. And so you didn't change your towels as often. You kind of hung out with the same wet one that you had throughout the day. But Thermea, like, I got a change of robe and change of towels whenever I needed, and so that was a really great aspect. In keeping with the robes thing, I like that they include the robes, but the problem is keeping track of them. So throughout the day, you're hanging your robes on hooks, like outside of the spa or outside of the steam rooms or saunas, or even outside of the hot tubs and or plunge pools. And because they're all rentals, they're all the same color, they're all the same everything, people end up losing theirs. You forget what number you hung yours on, and you end up taking someone else's. So a number of times my robe was switched with someone else's, and so I heard one of the ladies, she left her phone in the pocket and someone took that robe. I don't know if she ever got reconnected with her phone, but that's definitely a problem with everyone having the same robe. I don't know. Sometimes you just have to stuff something in the pocket that can easily be identified. So if you put maybe a headband or a hat or something in the pocket sticking out, then people know right away that that's not theirs. But it's nice to have the robes included. I also liked that a lot of the wood that they used throughout all their buildings was wood that was reclaimed from other places. So the property used to be Cullen Burns in Miniature Village. If you were a child growing up in the area, you may have traveled there with your family to see all these cute little houses and these trains that ran through all the miniature villages. So they did keep some of that original stonework in one of the buildings, and they also used a lot of reclaimed wood in the saunas, on the ceiling and on the walls, and it's really cool. They used reclaimed railroad ties as the hooks for your robes. So it was really cool to see how they incorporated those old world touches into this brand new facility. That was really nice. And I also really liked the water features that they had around the property. So they had like these water mills, and they had the water cascade falling down through those, which was really pretty, and it fell into this like little pond that they've created. So that was really relaxing. I remember spending a lot of time just gazing at these water features and sort of like drifting away in thought. And so that was a really neat feature I really appreciated. And I also really like their use of essential oils. So Scandinave doesn't use essential oils as much. You'll find that they have a steam room where they have one or maybe even two essential oils at the time that we were there. But throughout the day, we had so many essential oils encounters. They use them in their sauna shows, and they use them in the steam rooms, and they had two different steam rooms. One was eucalyptus mint, and the other one was like a citrus. And it was just really beautiful to have all these different essential oil experiences while we were there. I really appreciated that. It added this extra touch of relaxation that is like, you can't really explain it, but it was really pleasant, really, really pleasant. And they had some really unique saunas. So some of the saunas had like a wood burning fireplace in the middle with the stones on top, and they'd add water to that. And I thought that was really neat. I love sitting around a wood burning fire and just like getting all that, the light on you, and having the steam off of the rocks and the scent of the wood. It was just such a pleasant experience. And even the outside of the building was really well thought out, using natural materials and things. And then in their event sauna, it's this huge room and it can fit a ton of people, which it's good that they did make it so big because there were so many people coming in and out throughout the day. It was a very busy experience. Even though it was a rainy day in March, I was impressed with the number of guests that streamed in and out throughout the day. It's a popular place to go. So at the event sauna, they've got this big oven with these huge rocks sitting on top, and they bring in snowballs that they've infused with essential oils, and they put them on the rocks, and then they use towels to get the steam and the heat and the aroma of the oils to each person. It doesn't matter where you are in this huge event sauna, you are going to get a nice experience with those smells and the heat. So that was a neat experience. They call the ladies that do the towel waving artisans. And so it was a new experience, and it was a good experience, but I'll get back to that later on. I'll touch again on that point in a second. So the bad things, I wouldn't call them bad things, but things to just be mindful of and that were different about this experience. The change rooms are unisex. So despite putting a preference of male or female, the majority of change rooms are just in a huge open space, and you can be next to anybody at all. And even if you are booked with a friend, you don't necessarily get to be with them. And the lockers are quite small. So I believe it's 3 levels. So it's just like a box, probably 2 feet or 3, maybe 2 feet by 2 feet, let's say, size. And so you kind of have to roll up, you put your boots in there, you roll up your coat, you put your bag and everything. And so the lockers weren't my favorite. I do like the fact that you get a wristband when you come in, and that is the wristband that you use throughout the day. So you use it to open your locker. It also, you can charge things to your credit card with that wristband. So that was a neat aspect of it. You didn't have to worry about carrying a key around or anything, or carrying around money. But I didn't so much like the lockers being unisex. So you'd have to take your clothes into a change room and change, or into the shower area and change. I really wished that they, gave more option to have separate women's and men's change rooms. It would feel a little bit more relaxed. Also, phones. Okay, so at Scandinave, phones are a no-no. You are required to leave them in your locker. And so it feels like you are going on a true vacation and a true wellness day where you're just away from the world at large. But here at Thermea, they don't mind if you have your phones, except in the sauna, in the hot tubs, and in the pools. So you find people taking lots of videos, selfies, taking pictures, and it just made it feel less relaxed. Even if you don't have your own phone, just knowing that they're there and they're ringing and people are talking, it just didn't feel as much of a vacation as I'd like it to. So that was one aspect that I didn't like. And it's also very busy. So because it's so close to the city, I imagine, they are always full. Even on the coldest, rainiest day, there was no shortage of people. They were always everywhere. I like Scandinave because they really truly limit the number of people that attend. So you really have this sense of space and relaxation and a time of like reflection and quiet, because there are not a lot of people, there's no talking, you're in nature. So as far as the eye can see, all you can see is trees, and I really appreciated that. I also found that the schedule made it feel less relaxing. So every hour on the hour, they had an afkas, which is like a performance in the event sauna. And so that's when they would do the snowballs with the essential oils in them, and the artisans would play music or do a reflection or something like that. And it was neat to see. So you always felt like you wanted to be there for it. And so you felt like you were on this like time crunch. Like, what time is it? What time is it? You always had to be conscious of the time because you didn't want to miss anything. They say that they bang a gong 10 minutes before and 5 minutes before, but I never heard it. We were there all day. We got there at 10 o'clock in the morning and we didn't leave till the evening. And I never heard the gong, but I always remember like, where's the clock? I need to check the time. Are we going to miss it? Are we going to get there in time? So that changes the entire mood of things when you feel like you need to be on a schedule. It feels more like you're at an all-inclusive because you're like checking the time. Is it time to go to lunch yet? Is it time to go to this class? Is it time to do this? Is it time to do that? Whereas with Scandinave, you were on this like natural rhythm of a cycle. So you would go into a sauna for some time, and once you were finished there, you'd go into a cold plunge. When you were finished there, you would go and rest. And when you were finished resting, you could get up and wander around and go back and do another hot cycle, and then another cold cycle. So it just felt very like relaxed and self-paced and go with what your body says to do and natural. Whereas when we were at Thermea, it's like, oh, it's 10 minutes to, oh, it's 5 minutes to, we got to get over there. We got to do this. We got to do that. Oh, we're going to miss this. We better go now. So it always felt more rushed for sure. Food. So Thermea offers so many restaurant options that you felt like, so when we went to Scandinave, I fasted and I was just focusing on reflection and self-development and reading and resting and going through the cold cycle and the hot cycle. And food was never a factor. Like when we did get hungry in the evening, there was a restaurant, you could go upstairs. They offered light things like sandwiches and wraps. And so there was really less of an emphasis on food, and you just ate like a healthy like vegetable wrap and you felt satisfied, and you went right back to the therapeutic hot cold circuit. Whereas at Thermea, like it's like being at a restaurant. Like you go, you have to wait for a table, they call your number, you go and get a table, you sit down, you get served water and this and that, you're chatting with servers and choosing off a menu, and it was like a long drawn out process that takes like an hour to just have a meal. And then you're being offered things like soups and salads and cheese and bread and all sorts of like hamburgers and french fries and chips and like all these things. And then like you could get wine or drinks, and you could also get dessert. So at the end, it felt like you had a restaurant experience, which is what it is. But then it stops being so much about the wellness and the rest and recovery. It becomes more of like a social experience. And so I didn't really like that. I wish I could just grab a bite to eat and go back to being in like this wellness space and this wellness mentality, as opposed to it being like a social thing. Like Thermea feels like you're at a social and like a restaurant / like hot tub place. Yeah, I can't explain it any better than that. It didn't feel like a wellness retreat. It felt like you went to a restaurant that offers like a pool experience alongside it. And then once you've eaten like chocolate and like all these different things, going back and like getting back into that mental like place of this is a wellness retreat, this is a time of reflection, and it was more difficult for sure. The other thing I found was Thermea does not offer any soft surfaces. So while it is while it is a beautiful property and the pools are wonderful and everything, and the saunas are beautiful, that rest piece never felt restful because they had 2 indoor pavilions and one had just like hardwood benches and you were surrounded by a small fire in the middle. And when you look out the windows, you could see the highway, you could see other buildings, like you didn't feel like you were away. And then the other place had Muskoka chairs and it wasn't heated, so it wasn't warm, it was okay, but it could be cold in there. Like there's no reason that it wouldn't be cold in there. And they only had 3, count them, 3 hanging chairs. What I loved about Scandinave was they had a forest path, and when you go into the forest, you were presented with all these lovely hammocks, and they were huge. You could take 3 people and lay in these hammocks. And I just remember laying in the hammocks and just watching the sky go by and just thinking about nothing at all, just being empty of thought and just listening to the birds, listening to the trees rustling and watching the clouds float by. And it was just magical, just having that real time in nature with no distractions and gently swaying on your hammock. Oh, it was lovely. My other favorite part about Scandinave was they had these like moon beds, and my girlfriend and I would just like find a moon bed, and it was like half enclosed with a canopy, and it was this big circular soft and cushy place, and we would just lay there and read our books and quietly chit chat, and it was just lovely. And they also had these like wooden rockers, so they're like lounge chairs, but you could get them to rock back and forth, and they had them positioned like under pergolas but in the forest, and you take these like little stone steps to get out there, and you get out there and you just sit on these little rocking things, and you're just staring into the woods and into nature and off into this like little pond, and you're just rocking and just taking in all the smells and the aroma of the forest, and it was just magical as well. So I absolutely love Scandinave because of all these soft places to just rest your body and rest your mind and just be at one with nature and listen to the sounds during your rest periods, and that relaxation of like having nowhere to go, nothing to do, no distractions, no people chatting, no phones going off. It was just absolutely magical. So for Thermea, I would say that they definitely need to install more soft surfaces. They have places for, I think, about 4 hammocks, but they don't have them out at this time of the year. I don't understand why. Like, that seems like the posts are there, they can just hang up the hammocks. But outside of those 4 hammocks and the 2 indoor sitting hammocks, there's nothing soft to sit on. They have Muskoka chairs, they have benches, but that's it. Like, nowhere soft. It's unbelievable. That's definitely feedback that they need. They need soft places, because all day you're in saunas on hardwood benches, and that rest piece, it would be so beautiful to just cozy up with a friend or a loved one and relax. So I also talk about how busy it is. I talked about that before. They definitely sell a lot more tickets, and if you see the locker rooms, you know how many lockers there are and the expected number of guests they have prepared for. It's a lot. And they have a map of the property, and it absolutely doesn't make any sense. I don't know who made that map, but I feel like they never saw this place at all. And there's no like flow to it. Like, it's not like there's a hot circuit area and then you move to the cold circuit area and then you move to this rest area. Everything is just like all over the place. I don't understand it. And I also found that the plunge pools were not emphasized at all. They have like a small plunge pool where you have to go down a ladder and then like jump in, and the water's probably like 8 feet deep. I couldn't touch the bottom. And then you quickly like get out of there because it's not a place to hang out like at all. And then they had another pool, plunge pool, that was extra cold, like 50 degrees, and it was like a half circle with a staircase on either side and a waterfall. So when you get in, you're immediately like trying to just head straight to the other staircase and get out, because it's the waterfall. You know, you don't want those drops of water on you. When we were at Scandinave, like they have the plunge pools are just like regular hot tub sizes. And so you could go in there, you could swim around a little bit, do a few laps, enjoy it, and then get out. But it never felt like a rush. Like you could stay in the plunge pool for 20 minutes if you wanted to, because there was plenty of space for anyone that was coming in. And it was enough space to swim back and forth and like move around. So you stayed in there longer. Whereas here, they had 3 plunge pools. 2 of them were small, like one's like a rectangular size that could fit maybe 3 people. And then they had one that was a square, literally just a square. It was probably 3 feet by 3 feet. So you come down the ladder and you're just standing there. There's nowhere to go. So unless you know the person, you're not getting in there with them. And then they had the super cold one where it was a U shape and they have this water coming down in it. So you're just trying to get in and out and avoid getting splashed with the waterfall. So yeah, I really wish they had given more plunge experience, made them bigger and more inviting, and a place to, you know, sort of experience cold water like you would with the hot tub, where there were seats and things like that. You could experience the hot. I wanted to experience the cold, but it just felt like they were like, people aren't going to use this, so we're just going to make them really small and shove them off into corners, and if people want them, they can go. And I found that people really didn't use the cold. And if you went in the cold, everyone was like talking about it and like looking and pointing. So it was weird. Like it wasn't a part of everyone's experience. And I wonder if that's just because of where it's located, or because it's just such a tourist destination. It's not as much about the health and wellness and the rejuvenation and the health benefits of it. It's more of just like a novelty place to like come and hang out with your friends and socialize. So people really had no interest in the cold at all. Whereas Scandinave, people were really there and committed to their wellness and their health. And so everyone did it and everyone was enjoying it. And it felt like a group ritual without talking either to anyone, but you were having these amazing experiences together. I really like that. And on keeping with Scandinave, their indoor places, like they had the same rockers and they have these giant windows and they had like staircases going down. So when you're on the rockers, you could still look out over people into nature. And so I love that. And even in the lounge where you could eat a meal, they had nice cushy couches and big windows looking off into the forest. And so it was just all around like an immersive natural experience. And they focused also so much on nature that they have like a walking trail that you can go through to do forest bathing. And so all of that, those reasons are why I really loved Scandinave. I wish that Thermea would have focused more on making it an escape. Like you can see the highway when you're there. If you go to the rooftop, you can see stores and cars and like the rest of the world just beyond, right? So I don't know, like I just, it's different. It's definitely different. Yeah, so another couple of good things were they have more bathrooms than Scandinave, and the bathrooms are really well cared for and designed, but they're unisex bathrooms as well. So you walk into the bathroom and anybody could be in there with you. So that was interesting. And the night lighting is so cool. Like, the place at night looks really neat. They have blue lighting, and in the event sauna, we were there for the very last show of the night, and there were only 3 of us that weren't staff and 1 staff, but they turned down all the lights, and they have these like blue LED lights around the place, and that was really neat. Like, it looked really pretty, and it was really nice. Okay, so back to Scandinave, just a bit more about Scandinave. I feel like it's very therapeutic. When I left there, I felt really rested, and my stress levels right down at, like, it was just lovely. You feel like you're in nature. So when you cross from the parking lot and you walk across this long bridge to get to the building, you really feel like you're leaving the world behind, and you're taking a time away for yourself to focus on your wellness, and you're going into this sort of sanctuary, removed from all the troubles of the world. So I really appreciate that. And also the no phones. So just to be completely disconnected from my phone, your phone, everyone's phones, not seeing them, not hearing them, not having people taking pictures and all of that. It was just a true relaxation. You could be completely off and just be in your most natural state. I really appreciated that. And my girlfriend and I both said, like, our favorite place at Scandinave was the infrared sauna, because they had these huge windows that just looked out over the forest, and it was just so peaceful. Scandinave is a little bit cheaper. They don't offer robes included. So if you do go to Scandinave, you could bring your own or purchase separately, and I'm okay with that. In fact, I think I would have preferred my own robe, because then you don't end up picking up someone else's, and the robes are cozier. Like, these robes are not cozy. Like, they do the job, but they're not your own robe that is soft and luxurious and cozy. And they don't allow you to bring your own robes. So at Thermea, the rest areas are far better thought out at Scandinave, and you want to rest, and you want to just lay back and read a book or think or do nothing at all. So I really like that. And the circuits are better laid out, so it's easy to transition between hot and cold and sauna and resting, because they're all kind of in the same area, but it's just, I just prefer the layout. They also offer memberships at Scandinave, so if you're in the area, you can, do an off-season membership and go and enjoy that. So that's also really nice, because it does add up quickly if you go often. And the washrooms and lockers at Scandinave, you get male and female divisions. There are lots of washroom stalls. There are lots of shower stalls. And the lockers are bigger. So when you hang your coat, it has a place to hang, and you can put your boots and things. Whereas Thermea, it's like stacked on top of each other, and so you have to sort of ball everything up and shove it in there. And they're quite high, so if you're not a tall person, you might find difficult getting to the top level to put your things in, or if you're a tall person and end up with one that's at the floor, you're constantly bending. And if you're there and somebody else is in the middle or at the bottom and you're on the top, then you're sort of contending with that. Fortunately, like, I'm fairly tall, and I got a top level one, and I was happy enough with that. But at Scandinave, like, you get a little bench right in front of your locker, and your locker's there, and there's no problem. Like, it felt really good to have lots of space in the locker and in the locker area, so you could get dressed there, you can do whatever you need to do, sit, dry your feet, whatever you need to do. So that is my overview of Scandinave and Thermea. If I had to pick one, I would definitely pick Scandinave. The drive doesn't feel like it would be that much longer because it did take me 2 hours anyways. And Scandinave feels like an escape, a time away, a time of rejuvenation and refreshment, and you really feel like you've treated yourself to something therapeutic and you feel invigorated when you leave there. Thermea was great because I got to chit chat with my girlfriend and still get the experience, but it just felt like a social experience, and the having to be on a schedule of timing for the different rituals and going to eat and all of that definitely wasn't what I was expecting or looking forward to. I was really looking forward to just rest, and not having a proper place to rest was also sort of a letdown. But the friendliness of the staff, the use of the essential oils, the beautiful facility, we still had a great time. And I would recommend either one. If you're more social, Thermea, if you are looking for real true rest and recuperation, Scandinave. What else? Do I have anything else to comment on Thermea? So the rituals are interesting, and I got invited to some extra ones. I won't talk too much about that. If you're interested in that, then you need to go there and experience it. And it was really beautiful, the sauna experiences with those rituals. It was really pretty, and it was unique, and so that was neat. I did go to these places in different seasons, and I imagine Thermea is going to be even busier when the weather warms up, or on a Saturday or Sunday. We went on a weekday, and it was still very busy. The evening time is the quietest. It got really quiet probably after 7 o'clock. And so if you're looking to go and sort of be alone, then go later in the evening. Thanks so much for watching. I'm open to answering questions that you might have, so drop them in the comment section down below, and I will answer as many as I can. And if there's something else you want me to talk about in a video, I'm happy to do that as well. So just leave a comment and I will get to it. Thanks again, and talk to you soon. Bye.